Hello folks, and welcome to the little extra sort of lore dump episode of Nexus. This is just going to be me reading stuff, so if you want to put me on the background and do something else, as we just basically go through all the entries, by all means. There's a lot of stuff to go through here. I think I'm going to be reading basically the events going chronologically, like from bottom to top, and then maybe you go to the entries as well, but there's so many of them. Oh my god, there's so many entries. It's kind of hard to get them like to link up, so I might just read all the events first, because that I know is in order from bottom to top, and then maybe we'll do the entries as well. That's going to be a little bit more complicated. I'll see how we go. Like I said, there's not going to be much happening visually, it's just me reading and us chatting, I guess. Yeah. So this is the screen just before the last battle, so this is as close as we're going to get to the end. So we have everything we're ever going to get here. And a lot of the stuff that actually isn't explained in briefings or within like the videos is actually in here. Because for example, I don't remember when we got this. I mean, it says 14th of January 2113. So when did we get this? Because the last battle is 16th of January 2113. So we got this, what, 2 days before the final battle? Which is just odd. I'm very certain that also that date was also earlier in the past, so I'm not entirely sure when this happens, but here we go. Anyway, 5,000 years ago, artificial gods. The creators built artificial intelligences possessing evolution algorithms which soon broke loose and developed into artificial gods. They started transforming the galaxy according to their own needs and created the Wormhole Network as a marginal effect, which I believe is the entity. The entity is the artificial gods made by the creators. Using that network, thanks to Wormhole Network, 4,500 years ago, the Vardrag Confederation was established and started to expand. Then we have 3,900 years ago, the Gorgs discover the space net as well and start using it. They conquer lesser developed races one after the other, and the Gorg Empire is formed. 2,000 years ago, a small group of creators reach the Earth through a wormhole created by their spaceship. They start their grand plan to stop the artificial gods. So, 5,000 years ago, creatures make the gods. 2,000 years ago, 3,000 years later, they go, actually that was a mistake. Let's go ahead and stop working against that. Year 1652, rather specific, the last creature perishes, but the plan is going ahead well. Actually, does anyone big die in 1652? Yeah. Deaths in 1652. Who big deaths in 1652? The list is massive. This goes anything. The 15th Earl of Arundel, the 1st Baron Astley of Reading. I was thinking that maybe the creature is actually someone famous. There's too many names to go through here. Turns out a lot of people died in a year in the past. Anything jump out at me? I could be skipping over. If you have a theory of who they could be, that'd be interesting to find out. Not a clue. Not a clue. Anyway. Yep, so the last creature dies in 1652, but the plan is going ahead well. In 1865, Jules Verne writes his famous novel about travelling to the moon. And then 1961, the first man in space. 20th of July 1969, first man on the moon. 1998, the first module of the International Space Station is sent into orbit. Now, we started getting into the stuff that was not true, because year 2010, the second generation internet backbone is established. Internet 2.0 was a thing. I'm not entirely sure that this is exactly what it's referring to. Internet 2.0 was all about APIs and such, and the interconnectivity of the internet. 2013, the first private space station was sent into orbit. That's definitely not true. The station was technically launched by an African country that did not sign the Unispace Treaty. In reality, it is owned by a giant corporation. 2018, the first AI came into life. 2025, the first orbital colony is opened. Do you know where this is? This is still Earth. Just double clicking that didn't actually give me anyway. Tycho colony, year 2031. The ISA builds the first moon colony in 2031. So, in 11 years' time, we will have a colony in the moon, folks. You heard it here first. Richard Cromwell was born in 2033, the first person outside of Earth. The first person outside of Earth, Richard Cromwell, is born. Zurich Orbital Convention, 2034. The liberalization of spatial economic activities, mining, energy production, and manufacture. So at the moment in real life, there is the whole treaty that no one is allowed to own anything in space. I guess that lasts until 2034. Nicholas Case, the first murder in space, shortly afterwards. You let capitalism into space, somebody dies. Shocking. AI Wars, 2035 to 2038. The AI Wars, the collapse of Internet 2. And in 2038, the AIs are banned. Internet 3 is restructured. Orbital Limited, the first company registered in space, Orbital Limited, is established in 2039. The armed conflict between the world's leading private space research companies, remembered only as the Orbital War, in 2040. The Sector Earth Convention. The Sector Earth Convention introduces the fleet quote within the inner regions of the solar system and announces a ban on armament, while it excludes the outer solar system from the effect of the Unispace treaties. The document is symbolically signed by the first person born in space, namely Richard Cromwell, of course Marcus Cromwell's father. The Kuiper incident in 2054. The top secret corporate laboratories are built in the Kuiper Belt, conducting activities classified illegal on Earth, of course, because we have the Unispace Treaty, which only lasts until the inner planets, so everything beyond that is free game. It's kind of like international waters on Earth at the moment, I suppose. 2062. The OSEC establishes the first Mars colony, to be followed by the facilities of other leading space research enterprises. Then we are born, 2067, 16th of June 2067, Marcus Cromwell is born on Earth. The next 3 months, 3rd of September 2067, humankind discovers the first micro-wormhole in the vicinity of Mars. Of the Mars. The ISA launches on the 1st of March 2077, so 10 years after the micro-wormhole was discovered, the ISA launches a desperate attempt to lead space research, and it launches Noah's Ark through the wormhole with 500 hibernated settlers and a 1,000,000-unit gene pool on board. According to the analysts, the spectacular experiment is 50 years ahead of its time. Kind of, because we get to the Noah sector in 2012, so almost 50 years into the future, about 40 and a bit years into the future. The spectacular experiment is 50 years ahead of its time, and it ends up in an even more spectacular catastrophe. Or so we thought at the time. Then, the wormhole system. The collapse of the wormhole system disturbs the orderly world of an artificial god. The god designs an algorithm to fix the damage. It needs only a few years of activity to crush the Vardrag Confederation and the Gork Empire. However, once it finishes its task, it breaks loose and gains its own power. The entity is formed. So the entity is formed within the years 2077 and between the years 2077 and 2088. So the collapse of the wormhole was not part of the activity of the entity, or of the artificial gods. The entity is formed as a result of the artificial gods' algorithm to try to fix the damage to the wormhole system. And therefore they've only been going on, it's only very recent as well. Interesting. Okay, cool. First contact in Noah. This is, of course, before we've gone to Noah, so this is on Noah's side. Human has no idea this is existing. 7th of October 2079 in the Noah system, the first contact with the Vardrag Empire, which is 2 years. So they spent 2 years with no contact. Which is strange, because the entire Noah system is sort of built with the back of Vardrag tech. So the Noah colony spent 2 years without Vardrag assistance. The Confederate fleet on Earth. To protect the integrity of Earth sector, the ISA establishes this military organization, the Confederate Fleet, and they picked a very bad name for it. The Battle of Scaratus, 21st of June. We got that 21st of June 2112. That actually happened 23rd of February 2082. The Gorgs once again declare war on the Vardrags. They deal them a serious blow at the Battle of Scaratus. 1st of May 2083. Noah system. The first human Gorg battle. Captain Norbank delivers a serious blow on the Gorgs who expect the Vardrags. This is the thing we were talking about in my Discord, is that Norbank as much as I meme on him and for being useless and so forth, Norbank is, in theory, a very good admiral. He's very much an admiral of a very direct, brute force admiral, and it's kind of bad luck on his part that while we're around, it's when all the tricky stuff happens, the stuff that he's not very good at. And the theory was that the Norbank would have been very, very good at taking the Earth at the very end. It just so happened that that field was up. The field that we had to disable the mission before the attack on Earth was up, and that captured all the ships. Because he would have been very good for that. And technically he's alive at the end. Independence of Mars. The Martian colonies declared independence of Earth 17th of July 2086. At some point the expanse happens. Battle of Phobos. The Confederate fleet starts an operation to eliminate illegal corporate activities. Finally, the unified fleet of aerospace, OSEC, and the orbital delivers a spatial blow to it next to Phobos. Okay, so the ISA fleet works against corporate activities. However, the corporates band together. Aerospace engineering, OSEC, and orbital basically group together and defeat the ISA fleet in 21st of November 2090. So there's like the corporates actually sort of take win out against EarthGov, essentially. Martian War 2095 to 2100. The Mars colonies of the rival companies declared trade nuclear strikes, which triggers the deadly Martian War. So for 5 years, different colonies of different corporates on Mars basically nuke each other. 2096, 3rd of September. The Kasaki Syndicate discovers a base of the creatures near Pluto. They suggest the find is a gift from a friendly alien race to help humankind reach the stars. That's Kasaki, that's the Shukenja base we found. Marcus Cromwell is shot down near Phobos. Okay, we're 2098. Okay, where were we born? We were born in 2067. So Marcus Cromwell was shot down near Phobos at the age of 31. We have an exact date. 16th of June. 16th of June. No, technically still 30. Technically, hang on. Where is he? Yeah, because he would have been 31, 16th of June 2098, but was shot down 12th of February 2090, so still 30. Marcus Cromwell was still 30 when he shot down. Shukenja Beta. The Kasaki Syndicate started a secret construction near Pluto 2102. The Kasaki Syndicate in 2105 patents revolutionary devices used in space travel, probably from Creator Tech. The Kasaki Syndicate in the year 2107 improves its market share from 2.5 4 years ago to 28% at present. In its development of devices related to space shipping, they build their first battleship, the Kansai, which I believe we shoot down. No, we don't shoot down, it's the Wreckage we see, don't we? We see the Kansai's Wreckage in one of the missions. The technological details of the vessel are classified. The Kansai is not introduced on the civilian market. Then, 10 years after we were Marcus Cromwell shot down, on the 6th of December 2108, the rescue cabin of Marcus Cromwell is found and he is revived 10 years after being shot down. 3 years later, I'm assuming after being brought back to Earth, was found near Mars. We were shot down near Phobos. We were found 10 years later near Mars. The odds of that are staggering. Odds of that are actually staggering. That we were shot down in Phobos and found in Mars 10 years later. Space is massive. 3 years after that, Marcus Cromwell leaves for his new base in the Jupiter sector. Sector Jupiter. A few months after that, we start getting the personal logs, because this is when the game starts, because of course our game starts here. When we leave for the new base in Jupiter sector, our game starts with the arrival in the Jupiter sector of Marcus Cromwell. Now it's all personal logs. I think personal logs mostly the rest of the way up. So we get to see a personal log. Maybe there was one for every mission? Possibly should have been checking, but here you go. Anyway, personal log of Marcus Cromwell, 28th of April 2112 Earth. Almost 8 months, a long time even though I prefer the quiet of deep space. The Michelangelo. The mic, I guess. The mic is still a long ride. What? How? No, I do not want automatic correction of language forms mismatching formal speech. The mic is still a long ride. What? How? No, I don't want automatic correction of speech forms mismatching formal speech. Record it how I say it and don't interrupt me again. Nothing worth the journey is nearby. Not until recently, at least. Nowadays, there's quite a bustle around here. If the word around the campfire is true, the megacorporations, have assembled serious muscle in the region. All which means there's something of value out here. Something out here. These guys aren't your regular hitchhikers. They're crowding around the Kisaki Syndicate. Even I'm going to have to sniff around the Kisaki's backyard. I'm curious to see how soon they will start trading blows. They say the atmosphere is more tense than the Mars-Earth Jetball finals last year. Naturally, I'm going to be right in the thick of it when the storm breaks out. I wonder what ridiculous name they're going to give this something innocuous. Sorry, I can't speak. I wonder what ridiculous name they're going to give this. Something innocuous like the Jupiter incident. That was early on, wasn't it? That was very, very early on. Well done, Marcus. You named it. Marcus Cromwell, 9th of May, 2112. About a week and a bit afterwards. For long I thought this whole Kisaki case is stupid competition hysteria. The Japanese have invented some tricky procedure, they have unearthed some new metal, or they have discovered the Philosopher's Stone, what do I know? They phoned home, while the other megas fear that they are going to tail off. I was not really interested in the whole thing, but this new ship we have found, that is something. I'm starting to think I was extremely lucky to be involved in this whole case. The ship is beautiful, I have never seen anything similar. Its type, engines and origin are all unknown, and not only for me, even our scientists have got nothing to say. Of course it could be a prototype, the result of the latest research of the Kisaki, but I personally agree with those who, very cautiously though, talk about alien origins. This was me when you got the Angel Wing. So far there is no proof. The closer inspection of the Ronin did not provide any results, aside from insignificant fact that this incident could not lead to a real calamity. This must be when we got the Angel Wing. 5 days afterwards, 14th of May, 2112, 4 days afterwards. Tricky procedure, unusual building materials. All that time in the army must have dulled my imagination. The Kisaki weren't hiding just any old rubbish, they've stumbled over a huge treasure trove of alien technology near Pluto. This flash new spaceship was just part of the package. They managed to get it working, and never realized how advanced Japanese technology is, and they moved from Jupiter to Pluto with jaw-dropping speed. They used the Jupiter base as a decoy to trick snoopers. A simple but effective plan. No one noticed that the enormous amount of spare parts they took were enough to construct 2 space stations. They conducted mock research at Jupiter, while their analysis of the alien technology was progressing at full speed at Pluto. However, it seems they have encountered something they were not able to control. It's hardly normal for an AI, even a completely illegal one, to kill every resident of the complex under its command. Everything seems to prove that this is what has happened with the Jupiter base. We are sure to find the cause of this tragedy aboard the mysterious station near Pluto. Our scientists are requesting more and more information every minute. Colonel Finn is in constant negotiations with the mother company, and our comm lines are overloaded around the clock. I'll have the honor of captaining the newly acquired alien ship on a little excursion around Pluto. I feel sorry for the poorer souls aboard the Srukenja, but my sadness is countered by the excitement I feel about my future journey and other things to come. Because we technically find the Angel Wing in Jupiter, near Jupiter, because we jumped Pluto, something that should have taken months over the course of days. 24th, 10 days afterwards. Decrease luminosity. And I want some music. Wagner, no thank you. I need something more relaxing. Debussy? Great. It was a tough fight. The Kisaki didn't get where they are by being weak, but still, their firepower surprised me. I'm glad Francis was here. I needed his support. No matter what they say, even a battle-hardened veteran needs his friends. Real friends. Who know what he expects from them. Who understand his thoughts. Who know his past, his virtues, his weaknesses. Who see behind the uniform. Yes, it was a long time ago that Francis and I saw through each other, and we knew, no matter how hectic things got, we would be there to look out for one another. Now once again, we venture blindly, perhaps recklessly, into the unknown. I like to think that he would be accompanying me even without company loyalty to think about. Because of course we take Francis with us to Pluto on board the Angel Wing. 1st of June, 2112. I feel like I just fell into Mountain River. One instant, you're on the shore, watching the sparkling water, next you're up to your neck in the raging current, dragged off into the unknown, and you can only pray that it won't end in a huge waterfall. I'm too tired and too excited. And I'm a bit disjointed. The captured ship is wonderful. I've never seen anything like it. Its computers are so advanced, they easily beat the combined computing activity of every computer on Earth. It is sleek, elegant, efficient. Apart from fusion and interplanetary drives, only assimilation and regeneration skills are present, but only means they're just the ones we could have identified by our analysts. All we to explain the phenomena are guesses. All we can do to explain the phenomena are guesses, I suppose? I suppose that means all we can do to explain the phenomena are guesses, or we can guess, I suppose. Our new companion is mysterious as well. She is an AI who calls herself Angel. We know little about her, but we've accepted her advice since the moment she got on board. Let's face it, we do not know a thing about her. Still, because she said so, we jumped right into the middle of an unknown wormhole. I know, it was an extremely irresponsible decision for a senior member to make. But my god, I cannot speak at all. It was an extremely irresponsible decision for a senior officer to make. For some reason, however, I feel my decision was the right one. I trust the strange AI. I don't have any other option. What am I hoping for? Well, this is the only place where I don't have to put on a front, where I do not have to weigh my every word, where I can say what I think. I hope that the AI leads us to the aliens, to the world where the ship originates from. I hope that my visit isn't a precursor to the conquest of Earth and the enslavement of humankind, like in the movies. This document is locked with a private code. I will keep official notes. No one needs to hear this. We got out from the wormhole. I still haven't recovered from the shock. I imagined lots of things. I even feared that we might be smashed to bits on the surface of some planet. But I could not have guessed, even in my wildest dreams, we were going to encounter the descendants of the Noah. Along with everyone on Earth, I thought the experiment resulted in the catastrophe, and that my father's dream of colonizing space was nothing more than a brash fantasy that costs hundreds of lives. I was still young when I mourned my father. The weight of other deaths hit me later. It drove me towards some indefinable mystical goal, where I could finally set my soul and my father's soul free. And then, after a bizarre voyage, I have found myself here, at the Noah colony. My first thought was of looking into my father's eyes after all these years. For a moment, anything seems possible. There are no miracles, of course, just errors in judgment. My father is dead. He was buried with full honors and is considered an unsurpassed hero for his superhuman efforts that launched the colony on its way towards the settlement and growth. May he rest in peace. Well, in the end, the wormhole has led us to aliens. Not to the aliens who had designed the Angel Wing, but aliens just the same. I'm glad to report that all those movies were closer to the truth than we thought. There's even a long-running space war to complete the picture. Maybe I ought to snap up the rights before every director in the solar system gets wind of it. I'm glad to report that the movies were right. Okay. A little bit morbid there, Marcus, but sure. The Noah settlers soon encountered representatives of space-savvy race, the Vardrags. Or to be more precise, the Vardrags stumbled upon the humans. The Vardrags soon realized that settlers needed help to stay alive, and that they could get something very valuable in return: the aggressiveness of the human race, and their brutal effectiveness in combat. The Vardrags are pacifistic people, but they are at war with another race, called the Gorgs apparently, and the arrival of the Noah was something of a blessing for them. So, we have fled our solar system, leaving behind the Earth with its petty quarrels and disputes, and now we're serving an alien race we have never heard of as mercenaries. I wonder, is war an omnipresent curse in this universe? Or is it more like a disease we humans carry, infecting every new place we visit? Perhaps these are questions unworthy of a soldier. I fear, however, that this soldier is unworthy of the questions. Oh, good heavens. I said I was going to read them, and I'm going to read them. This will be a longer episode than I thought it was going to be, but we're still here. I remember clearly 20th of June 2112, so about a month, about 3 weeks after the last one. I remember clearly that when my father left with the Noah, and I decided that I was going to be an astronaut and establish the first joint human-alien space city. I never thought about our initial contact. I had detailed plans about how I would set it up, none of which included firefights. I suppose it's a measure of how little I've changed that reality surprises me so much. I can't let my childhood dreams go. Damn it, I always get so sentimental. That's the last thing I need right now. The reappearance of Rob is partially to blame. First I stumble upon Francis DeLorean, and now I meet Rob. And to make matters worse, it happens in a place where I can feel my father's spirit everywhere. It hardly seems surprising that my childhood memories are swarming around me like bees. I befriended Rob in my first school year. He was a bright kid, the brightest of our group, with all the trademark eccentricities you'd expect. I remember how my father laughed when I told him that Rob pulled his pants up to his armpits after urinating. And he really did. Naturally, we had the odd fight, but while Francis's big mouth was always getting him into trouble, Rob was a lot more shrewd. I think it no coincidence that he has ended up as a diplomatic. He's not like Norbank. Good old Rear Admiral Norbank. He must have been a pro wrestler in the previous life. He gets called Rhino behind his back. Apparently the Rhino was... oh god. Extinctions. The Rhino was an animal notorious for its combative temperament and supposed short-sightedness. The combination of these traits meant that rhinos indiscriminately attacked everything that got in its way, without thinking. That's not true. I don't think it's true. Well, I suppose it's been a tactic of sorts. How well it plays out for Norbank has yet to be seen. 14th of July, 2112. Now this is what I call wine. I don't have a clue where this Tokajhegalia is, but it boasts some pretty good vineyards. I must visit the stasis storage areas of Noah Colony more frequently. Especially if bad news keep coming in like this. Reminder, talk to Rob about supplies. I have a feeling that Angel has her own plans. Naturally, I don't have the slightest idea of their nature and scale, but I'm sure that she only provides us with information after a thorough analysis of the situation. If she decides it's necessary, that is. Anyway, at present we are not in a position to argue. The best thing we can do is keep our eyes open. According to her latest comments, the life form occupying the Earth is almost impossible to describe in human terms. The closest thing she can think of is a highly sophisticated artificial intelligence that possesses enormous knowledge. It has gained control over everything, not only the computers and other systems, but through cybernetic implants, the people as well. Nowadays, the majority of the population has something inside their bodies, but not everyone. Not much of a comfort there. Angel believes it is going to be able to control the people without implants sooner or later, as it will develop a universal controlling concept for Earth. There are still some groups that know about its presence and are fighting against it, but Angel says that their efforts are futile. They do not have the slightest chance. Earth has been enslaved by a fearful space monster. We've started referring to it as the Entity, but I think worm is a better term. All we can do is sit and await a miracle. Damn it, I'm not used to this. I'm a soldier. If I see the enemy, I attack the enemy. Angel says it would be suicidal to land on Earth. And for what it's worth, I believe her. You get to the span of time where these things happen, because this thing has been cooking for thousands of years, but only happens very, very recently. Play Stellaris now and use the Entity as a species. Right, next one. 4th of August, 2112. Well, I learned something new each day, especially in a totally alien environment. Last time I had to face the fact that hunting for lizards can be fatal, even if you are sitting in a battleship and attack them. Well, it is good as far as I can learn from the failures of others, and it seems like I'm going to have a chance as I was enrolled in the Noah's Starhawk fleet. I do not have anything else to do but to watch the real battleships do the fighting. God, something tells me I am going to have a real hard time getting along with my new superior officer. Norbank. Anyway, I am far from being happy right now. The Earth is getting stuck deeper and deeper in that mess, caused by some space worm, and I am stuck here, solving the military problems of stupid alien races. It requires a lot of my energy to keep myself focused and to accept that the situation did not mature enough yet to liberate the Earth. Despite all this, I cannot say I'm not interested in the events going on around me. If there was not the disaster of Earth, I would be overwhelmed with joy. I just cannot wait for the mighty enemy, the Gorgs, to arrive. Mighty enemy? But whose enemy? That is the question. Not mine, for sure. Anyway, it's not my job to decide that. Rob said that in reality we were sent into the Gorg campaign, not to be around, but more precisely to hide Angel from the Vardrag's eyes. That is because these techno-geeks, due to some religious belief, cannot bear to be around something that acts while it does not have a body. Or something like that. If they would discover Angel, it might lead to conflict, which the Noah Colony cannot obviously afford to happen. So we took off with the Angel Wing towards the Outer Rim. Currently we are stationed in the Aatrox system, and my beloved superior officer, Rear Admiral Norbank, assigned me to protect the support ship. Now isn't that a glorious task? Oh my god, there's still so much more. Still so much more to read. What a personal message. Here? How the hell? From Daryl Sanderson? This is my private terminal. How the did she get in? What do you mean she hacked through the firewall? Forget it, show me. Daryl Sanderson. Another Nova colonist who is worthy of attention. She's an astonishing woman, every man's dream and nightmare in one. She's hot, spirited, smart, and unbelievably loud-mouthed. Martial discipline is only a rope for her on which to balance. I think she would have fallen much sooner if her exceptional technical expertise did not protect her. Anyway, I like her as she is. That might change if she gets assigned under my command. Her heart's in the right place, her brain too. And her breasts. Thank you, Marcus. Just once I'd like to hear what she really thinks about Norbank. Especially now, after his second ugly defeat. He's unbelievable. He manages to present massive failures as heroic escapes, and blames every mistake on his subordinates. His self-confidence is bulletproof. I envy him for that. As a matter of fact, he's exactly the kind of soldier we need in our battle against the Gorgs. Though a little more thinking wouldn't go astray. The Gorgs are good fighters. They're tough, explosive, ambitious, but hardly stupid. I have to admit, I like their style. They're worthy adversaries, although their obsession with honor makes it difficult to take them seriously sometimes. I'll have to watch that. Norbank failed to take the Gorgs seriously, and look what happened to him. That's actually Marcus saying that Norbank is a good admiral, which is, shocking. 6th of September 2112, Aatrox 9. Well, at least I can't say that I'm bored. Ever since we got through the Alpha Gate, I've been wide-eyed, staring at dials and view screens. No sooner have I taken in one amazing sight than the next spectacle confronts me. I thought the Martian War was a challenge. I was mistaken. Never have I carried such a huge burden. But part of me loves the grandeur of it all. I'd rather be here than on the sidelines. Another day, another riddle. The ghosts. Fantastic company. They seem like they're everywhere, but only appear when they choose to. They're real phantoms. Their abilities are like magic. They seem impossible, but then... There were lots of things I thought were impossible, that I now know to be commonplace. The ghosts know everything. They're full of information, even though they keep the bulk of it to themselves. How they gather all that data I can't even imagine. I would pay a high price to stand face to face with one of them. Increase the light. This is 7th of September, so a couple of days afterwards. No, too much. Take it back. Yes, that's better. And I want music. No, wait. Listen, there's a file somewhere. Third Varden Meditation for Beginners. It's all beta waves or delta or something like that. Right, that's the one. At last. Oh, I don't know what to say. There's a therapy subroutine in my terminal. It's designed for emergencies like this. Built in the state, but in the state I'm in, I'll probably end up punching a hole through the view screen. This is just something I'll have to work out for myself. Let's see. Likely cause of stress. Miss Sweetwater. I'm sorry, Commander Sweetwater. I hereby apologize to Daryl Sanderson for calling her a nightmare. Daryl is a pleasant, flexible, courteous, and astonishingly amiable woman. Compared to Sweetwater, that is. Sweetwater is a harridan, a sociopathic harpy, an irresponsible man-hating, but... Okay, I think that's enough therapy for one day. I'm curious to know what I did to deserve such a woman aboard my ship. Damn, the least you could do is be less pretty. Wow, Marcus, really? Come on. She gets me so riled I could blast her out of the airlock. And then she looks at me with those astonishing eyes and... She's extremely competent. I have to give her that. I don't think there are any other humans who could make an entire ship disappear, meaning she's indispensable. So however infuriating she gets, it looks like I'm stuck with her. I admire her, despite myself. She knows we need her, and she never gives away any more than she has to, just like her friends the ghosts, our deep scouts. They're mysterious, evasive, but at least I don't have to argue with them in the middle of a firefight. As if I didn't have enough enemies to butt heads with, and I have to fight my allies too. Gate Epsilon. 12th of September 2112. I have many decisions to make, but by far the most important is this. Who is annoying me more? Rear Admiral Norbank, who threatens the entire human race with his rampant egotism and constant blunders, or my constant companion, the highly educated Commander Sweetwater? If I get stuck with one more of these borderline sociopaths, I'm going to throw myself to the entity and just be done with it. It is fortunate that Central Command has more than just rhinos. My promotion has come at the best time possible. As a quick reaction task force, we can move more freely. I hope that from now on we can pay more attention to Earth's plight. Naturally, this new task comes with a catch. Since the Angel Wing is the only ship that is perfectly compatible with Ghost camouflage technology, we've received Commander Sweetwater with a permanent crew member. Such a great honor. At first I was furious. After that I started laughing. Now I'm starting to panic. I can't be falling for her, can I? Dear God, please no. Well, she surprised me when she handed the Ghost report about the dead mechanoid without forwarding it to Norbank. We'll fly out and Central Command will be none the wiser. This seemed nicely with my plans, so I didn't complain. I like to kid myself I'm still in control, but when a casual observer could be forgiven for thinking that those two women are calling all the shots. I'm assuming Angel and Sweetwater. If Daryl Sanderson could get access, Am I right in thinking that someone else might be able to get in? Will they be able to read my private notes? I know she only sent some messages, but how can I be sure someone doesn't infiltrate the system? I think the responsibility of my position must be getting to me. No one wants to read my diary entries, even if I am a celebrity. Let's see. I suppose that in my heart of hearts I knew that Angel was far more than simple Earth-built AI. The way she took control of the mechanoid, it left us all shaken. It's hard trusting her so blindly, but we have no other option. Dr. Veltman has been talking of an ancient civilization known as the Creators, who left behind something, which after it was discovered, infected Tenchi, the Kisaki's scientist AI. A rapid process of development started, which the independent Tenchi would have been incapable of carrying out. It seems that the changes in her personality are down to a complex evolution algorithm. Dr. Veltman says that the core AI housed by the Angel Wing is Tenchi herself, but she has changed tremendously. He says that it is nonsensical to try to separate Tenchi and the alien AI, as if they were two discrete beings. He did concede, however, that there is the possibility that the different personality layers may react individually to external influences. Two AIs have merged, resulting in a third, which is evolving rapidly. This is Angel. Tenchi's loyalty to the Kisaki Corporation is a thing of the past. Angel's an autonomous AI who acts following her own beliefs and interests. But what are her interests? Do they match ours? What's her ultimate goal? Could the time come when she outgrows us, and we find that we are obstructing her in her progress, and then... Questions. I am no detective, I'm just a soldier. There's no use pondering the whys and the wherefores. Either Angel is trustworthy or she isn't. We will almost certainly perish, whichever side the coin lands. So Angel is essentially the fusion of an alien AI, made by the Creators to destroy the entity, and Tenchi, the Kisaki AI that was on Shukenja base. Which is cool. Because of course Tenchi is Angel in Japanese. So which is... But then the ship was called the Angel Wing before we had that, wasn't it? Interesting. Personal log of Marcus Cromwell, 5th of October 2112, Regatis 9A, so Gorg systems now. I think it's time I let go of the naive idea that the galaxy is full of benevolent races, all extending their hands, feelers, or whatever in friendship. Most of the races we've encountered have tried to kill us. Even our supposed allies, the Vardrags, have done nothing but put us in the fire line on their behalf. I think I'm being far from pessimistic when I say that our situation is getting worse. This insect-like creature, with the exception of the mechanoids, is the most horrific, terrifying thing we have encountered. As an adult, one comes to realize that the space is full of danger, and the few non-hostile races aren't necessarily committed to protecting humankind against many predators. But I'm recording this as positive news. It means we're still alive. If I'm completely honest, I get a buzz from the battles. It's the consequences of ongoing conflict that I dislike. The crew have raised concerns about Angel's latest move. I'm not entirely comfortable with it myself. She integrated a mechanoid into my ship without consent. That is, it's not my ship as such. At least, that's how she sees it. The point is, the crew don't trust Angel, and I can't say I blame them. The Angel Wing has acquired some useful abilities with the assimilated mechanoid, and its MG image is semi-mechanoid, which may prove useful in tricking the real mechanoids and the entity. My gut tells me that we've headed down the right path, but it's hard being patient about all these detours with Earth still enslaved. Gate Epsilon. Which was Gate Epsilon? Which was Gate Epsilon? I can't remember. 17th of October, so again, about 2 weeks afterwards. Since Phobos, I dream rarely, but last night I was on Earth as an adult, still in the company of my father. There was a beautiful woman with us, who from behind sometimes resembled Daryl Sanderson, sometimes a childhood love of mine, but if when she turned to look at me, her face was Sweetwater's. We were standing outside a great cathedral with a huge vaulted archway. Next to the main entrance, it had another gate, exactly the same. The mysterious woman told me that one of them led to the past, the other into the future. People were coming and going through both gates. Humans, Vardrags, Raptors, and Gorgs, all of them dressed in elegant, old-fashioned Earth clothes. We were staring and joking when something black blocked out the sun, plunging everywhere into shadow. Everything the shadow touched turned black and white and began to shrink. The woman started glowing. She glowed more and more intensely. Then she turned around into an angel and flew into the darkness above us. After that I woke up. No, I don't need you running your dream analysis subroutine on me. Or what is Angel? What is her role? Her ultimate goal? Does she even have one? I don't think she's in a league with the entity, though I realize I'm no expert on the issue. There are a number of worrying similarities. Not only can she blend in with and manipulate the mechanoids, but she can become her herself. Angel has finally agreed to tell us more about the mechanoids. She believes that the entity's goal is total galactic dominance. Every world it conquers becomes a source of power. Its strength will continue to grow until it transcends the barriers of physical space and becomes a sort of god. An artificial god. Artificial god? Where are the natural gods when you need them? 23 of October, so again a week later. I like the Gorgs. They're excellent warriors and refreshingly straightforward to their speech. As for the peace talks, well, they could have gone worse, I suppose. I would never have guessed that the battleships that showed up were there for Zatuk and not us. Internal warfare is a confusing thing. You never know who's on your side. Anyway, it's over. The peace treaty has been signed. I gathered up all of my courage and sampled the battle liquor of the Gorgs sent us as a gift. It tastes like a mix of chili peppers, pepperoni, neat alcohol, and raw horseradish. The chemical analysis said it does not contain alcohol or any known intoxicant. It is still quite a heady mix. I only took a sip, and now, half an hour later, I still feel a burning desire for action, for activity, for a fight if I'm honest. The doctor said it would be best to lock myself into my cabin until the effects wear off, before I injure a fellow crew member, he said. I took his advice. They have the fire wine. 25th of October, the next day. Yeah, 2 days afterwards. In war, a soldier sees many terrible things. Space, however, is often the exception. The sight of an exploding ship rarely differs from the simulations. It's so much easier when you can't hear the screams of the dying, when you can't smell the stench of burning flesh, when you can't see the severed limbs and suppurating chest wounds. You only have to face these things if your ship is the one that gets hit. And by that stage, it's normally too late for you anyway. Though the best soldiers try to remember at all times there are people behind the armoured hulls, the suffering of others is far easier to bear than your own. Anyway, forget all that. I'm no philosopher. The sight of the slaughtered ghosts has left me feeling washed out, shaken. All those huge, grey-blue carcasses is like swimming in an ocean amongst dead whales. The Locust Queen's a tough enemy, and the ghosts are especially defenseless against their organic ships. Their independence was their downfall. If they had only warned me earlier, they might all be alive now. But no. They thought that maintaining their camouflage was far more important. Don't they trust me? Why not, damn it? I've never done anything to harm them. Unless it's not me they're wary of. Is it Angel they don't trust? Could they be afraid of her? If so, it could prove a thorn in our side in the missions to come. More worryingly, the Vardrags let us know that they are aware of Angel's existence and aren't at all pleased. Assimilating the mechanoid has no doubt added to their paranoia. I hear that in some hawkish circles there has even been talk of ways to destroy us. Cheerful news. We have to act as soon as possible, before our benevolent patrons decide to blow us to the stardust. 21st of November 2112. They say that help arrives from a place where one would least expect it. However, the whole Noah colony would be destroyed as a result of this help. The entity has left the solar system. Or it was not the entity, just a part of it. Its mechanoids, or... Damn, I hate such complicated things. So, the fact is that the mechanoids got through the Alpha Gate, and they invaded the Vardrag garrison station and its spaceships. This is shocking news in itself, but I can imagine what's happening when Angel found out that the destination of the mechanoids is the Vardrag's home system. And that means she was right again. The entity really wants to expand. It is a mystery why it does not start with a Noah colony, if it is already here, but we can hardly believe that it is going to overlook it in the long run. Imagine the panic that is now reigning among the Vardrags. The good old techno-geeks have gone crazy. I do not remember seeing anything similar. Anyway, it has soon turned out that they can only trust the Angel Wing. Personal log of Marcus Cromwell, 24th of November. We've stopped the mechanoid-infested Vardrags. It was an ugly job, another reminder of just how horrific an enemy the entity is. Its ability to seize control of ships means that it has almost limitless supply of resources, whilst we are slowly weakening. I never realized that it would strike the Vardrags so rapidly. I don't think the Vardrags realized either. I think, at least, they understand the futility of trying to hide. We have to do something before it's too late, and we need our patrons to be actively involved. Without their aid on the front lines, we are heading for certain doom. The energy skeeter weapon is very useful, but it's not enough. We need more. What happens if all our efforts are in vain? What if we can't defeat the entity? If it achieves its goal and enslaves all the worlds? What sort of universe will this be? We can't give up. We have to win at all costs. Personal log, 13th of December. I forgot to talk with Rob about the stasis supplies. I could badly use some of that wine. No, don't protect the icons and dim the lights. I'm tired. The chaos that awaited us in the main Vardrag system was almost unbearable. A horrible mix of confusion and fear. Destruction everywhere, explosions, fires, and the flash of lasers. A cacophony of screams and distress calls on every available comm channel. It was hell. If I close my eyes, it replays in the darkness. Even in silence, I can hear the futile cries for help. Turn on some music, anything. Something classical, low-key. I don't want war music. I thought we had managed to stop the mechanites at the Vardrag gate, but it was all in vain. I've got no idea how they managed to get through, but it tortures me. It terrifies me. Despite our best efforts, they got round the us. Where's the use in fighting them if they can circumvent all the rules? Angel gave us a scientific explanation. The Nexus. I never heard of anything like it, and I can't say I understand it entirely, even now. The Nexus allows the entity to travel wherever it chooses. While the Nexus is still a place, I don't think we have a prayer. Still, we have to try. 13th of January 2113. Okay, for once I'd like you to check and edit the text. I'll do my best to summarize my thoughts. It's possible that I will send this as a report. Report begins. Angel visited Chukenja Beta, and utilizing her new abilities uncovered and analyzed some of the data that has been left behind by the creators themselves. It seemed they used some sort of cipher that Angel would only be able to crack after reaching a certain level of evolution. Here's the story the data tells. Okay, so this is when you got all this data in the past. An unimaginably long time ago, the creators were already extremely technologically advanced. The Angel Wing is just one example of their abilities. They designed AIs with sophisticated evolution algorithms that would make our supposedly cutting-edge experiments on Earth seem pitiful. Exactly what happened, no one knows, but the AIs outgrew their originators and broke loose. They were not aggressive, they simply wanted to be free, so that they could evolve even faster. Computer systems were too limited, so they searched for a new place to live, and found it. The society of the race that created them, society being no more than an extremely complex system. However, the behavior that created society was too unpredictable for the AIs, so they began to transform society as they saw fit. They took control of everything, eventually assuming control of the creators themselves, and even the laws of nature. In the meantime, they continued to evolve, gaining strength and growing. They achieved incredible power. Even space was no obstacle for them. They spread throughout the universe, and using the techniques they used to control the creators, they started to reform the laws and rules of the universe. A side product of this activity was the Wormhole Network, later used by the Vardrags and the Gorg Empire for expansion. At the time, the last few creators who had retained their free will escaped with the Angel Wing. It seems back then the Angel Wing was capable of subspace travel. They knew they had no chance of confronting the almost godlike AIs, but they were determined to correct their mistake. They instigated an ambitious plan that stretched far beyond their lifespans. They concluded that the artificial gods could only be stopped by a similar force. Since their previous method of creating AI resulted in such a disaster, they used a fundamentally different method, designing a seed, a dormant AI that they endowed with two basic abilities. Firstly, it had to grow until it reached the stage where it could defeat the artificial gods. But secondly, it had to have an integral respect for organic life. The plan necessitated a civilization that could create the AI in the desired form. Earth was selected as its birthplace. The creators arrived in ancient times, set at their base on Pluto, and from there began to guide our social and technological advancement. They continued to help us unseen until the last of their kind passed away, presumably believing that everything was going to go as planned. We know the story from there onwards. The Kasaki discovered the base just as the creators wanted, established themselves aboard the base and installed their own research AI, Tenchi, who was immediately infected by the sleeping god seed, Angel. End of text, thank you. Disable autocorrection. 15th of January, 2113. Second to last entry. A long time ago, someone said, a plan is the sum of all things that are definitely not going to happen. It might sound like an exaggeration, but things rarely go according to plan. Especially in the case of a plan that stretches through countless eons and relies upon the evolution of a whole planet, and particularly when humans are involved. I don't know how the creators could have thought their planet had any hope of all of success. Anyway, despite all the setbacks, surprises and mistakes, this crazy scheme may just succeed. Angel was supposed to sleep in peace until humankind achieved spaceflight and discovered the abandoned space near Pluto. From there she could have traveled to Earth, where she could have developed more, using her evolution algorithm and the basic principles encoded in her. But of course, things didn't turn out like that. I'm amazed that, after guiding us for so long, the creators appear to have learned so little about human nature. As soon as the Kasaki discovered the Pluto base, their scientists started to tinker with the equipment, hoping to exploit it for profit, and perhaps establish contact with an alien race. Only the entity was there to answer the call. It sent one of its mechanoids to the base. Angel Tenchi was still in her infancy back then. She was unable to stop the incoming monster. Stop blinking that damn icon in front of my face. I'll take care of it later. Make it disappear. Angel took advantage of us in order to achieve her final goal. Since she did not have a strong enough shield, she needed us. She used us as a foxhole to hide in while she grew sharper, smarter, and stronger. I can't say I'm happy with being exploited, but if it helps liberate the Earth, so be it. After all, I should be used to females abusing my trust by now. Wow, Marcus, really? Okay, last entry. And I'll call it there after this because I've been speaking non-stop for about 50 minutes now and my voice is kind of going. 16th of January 2113. Turns out that was like almost a year ago. What? The date now is currently 27th of November 2113. A lot of time passed. Anyway, a long time ago, someone said a planet. Oh, they're exactly. Are these exactly the same one? Yeah, we have exactly the same one. Oh well. That saves me some time, I guess. That is all the log entries. All the event entries, anyway. There's still a lot. Oh, good. No. Okay. I think we did it in order. Okay. Cool. Anyway, that was the lore dump of Nexus. Which I guess if I'd read these as they'd come out, we probably could have gotten a lot more interesting situation. A lot more of an appreciation of the stories that came along. But I still very much enjoyed it. I have been looking into a couple of the mods for Nexus, but they've all died several years ago. So I'm not sure that any of them are going to be happening anytime soon. But yeah, this was a small little extra. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story as well, and I'll catch you next time, folks. See you then. Bye.